earlier in my life, I used to struggle with being overweight, which obviously also meant things like low testosterone, low motivation, and generally just a whole bunch of things that are not too pleasurable that come along with being fat. And the thing that I used to also believe is that that was the only reason why I feel so tired and can't do anything, which turned out to be quite of a naive way to see things, because after 6 months of going all in on fitness, the tiredness problem had returned. Despite the fact that I lost about 10 to 11 kilograms of fat and became the leanest version of myself, despite the fact that I quit social media, despite the fact that I quit porn and a whole bunch of other bad habits that I used to have before that. And as you can understand, that completely blew me away because I was 100% convinced that that problem was solved once and forever. But the tiredness problem had returned, and that started the process of me trying to figure out how to never have that problem again. And that's exactly what I spent the last couple of years trying to figure out. I tested pretty much everything that you can think of, and in this video I'm going to share with you some of my observations and things that I realized over the past couple of years, breaking it down and going deep into the mind side of things, because honestly it's not just about drinking more caffeine or getting more sleep. So make sure to watch this video until the end if you actually want to figure out the deep cause of the problem and fix it for yourself. So I'm gonna start off with a couple of harsh truths that I needed to hear. You might always feel like shit if you don't do something about it. Because a good night's sleep might not fix it, a week off might not fix it, an energy drink or a coffee might not fix it. It is much deeper than that. So the one thing that I noticed is that most of the time my peak energy levels usually lasted not for hours or even for days, as you might intuitively assume, but usually for weeks or even months at a time. There was always a direct correlation between my energy levels and what was happening in my life. And in periods when I didn't have something interesting to work on, I also didn't have the energy to do anything else. Do you get where I'm going with this? Your body and mind gives you a massive energy boost that can last for many weeks when it sees that you're working on a project you're deeply interested in, like building a body. And that's exactly what I did. Remember when I said that only after the 6 months period the tiredness problem had returned? That was because for those 6 months I was so deeply obsessed with it that I didn't even think about the energy levels, like it was high by default. Despite the fact that in that period I didn't really look after things like nutrition or recovery, like I slept fairly okay, but my nutrition basically consisted of like 50 or 60% pure junk because it was cheap and it had a lot of protein in it. Now you might think, wait, but how can that help me? Do I have to find a purpose or an obsession if I just simply want to have more energy to navigate all this chaos? I get it, that's a fair argument, and honestly that's exactly where I was at after those 6 months of going all in on fitness, when I realized that the obsession is no more and that thing became a simple habit. And here's the main thing that I come to realize. Being obsessed with something is great, but it's not sustainable for the long term. And in a few weeks or months the excitement will go away and you'll be faced with two issues. First is that you'll get discouraged and angry because the high energy will disappear, and secondly you'll find it difficult to keep working on the project in the first place because you'll no longer have the excitement and the energy to do that. And trust me, this process will repeat itself. Alright, so getting back to the point, as we discussed, relying on excitement isn't sustainable. What is sustainable is relying on a system that works day in and day out, week after week, independently from what you're doing in your life. But the thing with the system is that it's quite difficult to build your personal one, and you build it through endless experimentation. And if that was easy, everyone would be running around with infinite energy, but we don't quite see that in reality. Funny enough, most people choose to either sleep in, scroll on their phone, or simply watch TV for the whole weekend and blaming everyone but themselves why they have no energy whatsoever and why their life is that way. And the thing that I've concluded is that the reason why they do it is because they have low agency. They're living on autopilot, doing the exact same things that they used to do for the past 2 or 5 years without ever questioning if it's right for them. And quite frankly, low agency, in my opinion, is the biggest reason of most people's problems, especially when it comes to their health. To build a system, you need to first develop an agency. That's how you learn to decide and choose what is right for yourself. And you do it by questioning. Questioning everything you've been doing, how it impacted you as a person, how it impacted your mood, how it impacted your mental state, physical state, energy levels, and basically anything else you can think of. You need to initiate the change. That's what agency is about. You need to set your own goal and move towards it by yourself. And to develop that agency and eventually be able to build a system for yourself, you have to start by doing a reset on your life. And here's how I propose that you do it, because honestly, for me, it worked pretty well. Step 1. Understand. Pull out a piece of paper and a pen and start writing down how your day looks like right now. Write it down minute by minute. At what time do you usually wake up? What do you do first thing in the morning? What do you have for breakfast? Where do you go throughout the day? And so on. Then write down how you feel during those times. Good or bad? What is your energy level like as you're going through the day? And most importantly, ask yourself how many of those things you're doing consciously. How many of those things do you actually choose to do? Prioritize important things that get results and restructure your habits. Start to remove all of the activities that you didn't choose to do that just automatically slipped into your day. Remove also those that you know are bad for your energy levels. And to make it easier for you, here are some examples of those things. The poor diet that saps your energy before you notice it, the sleep ins that leave you feel like you've got a dumbbell inside of your head for the rest of the day, the endless social media scrolling, the inability to say no to toxic people and activities, and so on. Start prioritizing what gets results and structure it in a way so that the hardest and the most energy demanding tasks are getting done early in the morning, because for the most people, that's when their energy levels are the highest. Initiate the change with action. Wake up early and start your day the way you want it to start. Not what your monkey brains wants you to do, but what you actually want to do. Plan out your day the night before. And the most important part is commit to living like that for about 3 weeks, because that's usually how long it takes for you to form a habit so that you don't slip back into those routines, and actually make sure that those changes stick for the long term, because that's exactly what I went through when I had probably the worst period in the last 5 years in terms of my energy levels. Keep in mind that I was only 16 and I didn't have energy whatsoever. My testosterone was very low. I assume I didn't take any tests, but generally I just felt like garbage. And after I went through that 21 day of reset to actually develop those habits and make them stick, I can actually say with certainty that my life changed forever. Okay, so now let's talk about the physical aspect of things. And I should say that if you want to go deep into that physical aspect, you can check out the Performance Archive, which is fully designed for those who want to improve their energy levels fast without spending thousands of hours experimenting and learning. Inside of there, I've put literally everything that I know about energy and health optimization. It's going to expand over time, and you can get a lifetime access to it by going through the link in the description. The price is also going to increase over time, so yeah, if that's something that you're looking for, you can definitely go and check that out. Alright, so back to the video. There are essentially 4 main things to focus on: sleep, diet, physical activity, and mental expansion. Now let's break those down. The most important thing about sleep to remember is getting 7 to 9 hours of high quality sleep every single night is essential if you're a guy. For girls, it's up to 10 or even 11 hours. For diet, the most important thing to remember is avoiding carbs for the first few hours of the day, avoiding sugar as much as possible, especially artificial sugar, and would also recommend, if you have the ability, to stay away from all kinds of overprocessed foods. For physical activity, there are essentially 3 main things: weightlifting, walking, which is 10 to 15,000 steps every single day, and seeing the sunlight, preferably early in the morning. And for mental expansion, the most important things are reading, meditation, and reflection. Alright, so to finish off this video, I'm gonna share with you a concept that probably might be valuable for some people, because for some reason it stuck with me for, I don't know, for like 3 weeks at this point. Build your health like you would a business. Have a vision for it. Because most people's goals look like, I want to lose fat, or I want to become more energetic, or I want to improve my health, which are insanely vague. Because trust me when I say that you will never ever get anything done if you're not specific, at least in self-development and fitness space, because that's where I have the experience in. Specificity and systems always beat discipline and motivation. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video until the end. If you found it valuable, then make sure to leave a like, subscribe to this channel, and also let me know down in the comments what is the biggest struggle of yours when it comes to energy levels, because I'm genuinely curious and I want to compare it to myself and see if there's any difference or not. And another thing that I forgot to mention is that you can check out my free email newsletter if you'd like to receive a lot of useful things on a weekly basis. With all that being said, once again, thank you for watching and have an amazing day. Bye.